So what is the Kaizen mastery system? Well, over the next few minutes, I want to walk you through exactly what it is, show you a little bit of the details and kind of the explanation behind how the system works. And at the end of that video, if you want to know more, you can go ahead and book a call with me, and I'd be happy to, discuss this further with you. So let's jump in. The Kaizen mastery system is focused on helping organizations scale and enhance flow across four key pillars. You have process, people, platforms, and portfolio. Using a 37-point diagnostic, I will help identify specific friction points within your organization that you can immediately focus on and start making improvements to. This system replaces slow consulting with a high velocity 90-day cycle, aiming to eliminate operational waste and zombie projects. So this is really designed for growth-oriented leaders who are facing operational challenges and looking for a data-driven roadmap to overcome structural friction. Unlike traditional consultants who provide open-ended recommendations and not really giving you any kind of implementation plan, my surgical focus model targets and resolves your organization's most pressing bottlenecks, re-architecting your operational workflow to align with your vision. So let's talk about the 6 friction points a little bit, because I've identified 6 particular ones within any organization that you can be experiencing that really will steal your momentum and create enough friction that growth will be very challenging. The first one is the execution gap. So you can have 2 different types of the execution gap. So you can either have the gridlock effect, or you can have an efficient treadmill, right? So the difference between the two, with a gridlock, you have an elite strategic vision, but your pipes are being clogged, meaning processes can't handle the volume of your ambition. The efficient treadmill basically means you're world class at doing the right things, but you aren't doing the right things. You have a high speed process, but it's serving zero strategic purpose. The second friction point is human debt. If human debt shows up as one of your biggest friction points, you typically have a gap between the tech stack you're trying to operate with and the talent that you have on your team. Your platform and your people pillars are not aligned and can create different situations, such as a digital graveyard where you have the best tech money can buy, but your people are drowning in tool fatigue, or you're paying a manual tax, meaning you have elite talent performing low value manual data entry. The third friction point is the waste factor, where you have a severe deficiency between how your processes operate and the platforms you're using. So you're either going to discover that you have an analog burden where you have sophisticated workflows, but aren't supported by technology and requires manual orchestration, or you have automated chaos. Effectively, you have applied really expensive technology to broken, chaotic processes, making mistakes much faster. Next, you have the capability gap. So this is the fourth potential friction point that you can have that manifests itself in 2 different ways. So the first scenario can be characterized by hero culture, in which outstanding performers tend to succeed despite systemic obstacles within the organization. In this particular environment, individual efforts often overshadow team capabilities, resulting in reliance on a few high achievers to carry the load for the entire organization. Secondly, in this particular friction point, you could have what's known as a bureaucratic anchor. So in this case, the organization has established a very intricate and sophisticated system and process. And typically you'd have specific individuals in the organization that are responsible for managing the documentation and updating said documentation and not really allowing the team that does the work to actually do the improvement to their process. This is usually a lack of a Kaizen mindset from a leadership level that doesn't get instilled all the way down into their team. And consequently, the organization finds itself hindered by its own complexity and really unable to harness potential for growth. Next, you have capacity strain. So if there happens to be a wide gap between your portfolio and people pillars, you'll be experiencing either the burnout threshold, where leadership's ambition has outpaced the biological limits of your workforce, or the boredom sinkhole has opened up and your high capacity team has no clear direction and they're idling at about 20% capacity. In either situation, it can create extreme amounts of waste in your organization, from having meetings about meetings or sending emails about emails where everyone looks busy, but there's really no progress being made. And people tend to start chasing geese around, or they're watching paint dry. And neither of these is going to help you create the world-class organization that you want. Finally, you have the visibility gap. So if you discover there's a gap in a visibility, you probably have realized that there's a discrepancy about how your portfolio is being managed and the way that the platforms that you're trying to use accomplish those goals. That visibility gap can show up in one of two ways. So you have a situation where you have no real-time visibility into whether your strategy is working or not. It's kind of like flying a 747 without having a dashboard to know what altitude you're at or anything of that nature. Or you're going to have an over-engineered dashboard where you have so much information to look at that's not really meaningful, and it tends to take up all of your time. And as a result, you don't really have a great strategy and meaningful strategy that you're working toward. So when you take a step back and look at these different pillars, so you have the process pillar, which is pretty straightforward. It's everything inside of your organization that allows you to function, be able to create whatever widget inside your organization that you exist to create. Your people, obviously, are the people you employ, and also how you think about developing them in order to work on said process that you have. Your platforms is really all about the systems and the software that you use to accomplish the goal of the organization. Or this could also mean, like if you are in a restaurant industry, your POS system that you use that allows your front of house staff to communicate with the back of house staff. So this really comes down to the technology that you're using to accomplish the goal of the business or organization. And finally, your portfolio is all about the overarching strategy and project work that you're doing on a day-to-day, month-to-month, annual basis that allows you to keep moving forward. And when you don't have alignment between these different pillars, you create these friction points. If you'd like to learn more about how you can get better visibility into what friction points you have, you can go ahead and book a time with me on the strategy brief link on my homepage at www.stevebeauchamp.com.